Welcome to Manitoulin Island.
Taking a little Canadian island life as we soak in the dog days of summer on the laid-back shores of Ontario's Great Lakes. Tour Manitoulin Island and hike along the world-famous Horseshoe Bay inside Puckasaw National Park. You'll also drive the stunning Canadian leg of the Lake Superior Great Circle Route. Oh, and did I mention there's more waterfalls too? It's all part of the next big adventure on this cross-Canada trip. As you come in from Quebec, make your first stop to hike Egan Chute Waterfalls before heading to the Great Lakes. On Lake Huron, do a self-guided tour of Manitoulin Island before joining the Lake Superior Circle Route, highlighted by a stop at Puckasaw National Park. From there, head northwest through Ontario's pristine boreal forest to the Manitoba border.
So we're going out to hike Egan Chute and Egan Falls. It's in the middle of nowhere in eastern Ontario, and it's a short hike. It's less than a kilometer each way, and it's mostly flat, so this should be a lot easier than that hike up Mount Pisgah in Vermont we did the other day. So unlike that hike the other day, I've been hiking for less than 10 minutes and I'm already halfway there, and it's completely flat. We're getting close. You can hear the falls now. Well, that was a cool little stop. Egan Chute Falls, Egan Falls. I can't remember what the name of it is. But we're trucking it to get out of the woods now because these mosquitoes are absolutely awful. But those sights were worth all the new mosquito bites I got, because that's a pretty beautiful waterfall. You know, there's a great Rodney Dangerfield joke where he was talking about how he had such bad acne when he was a kid. He woke up and a blind guy was reading his face. And I kind of feel like I could say that about myself with all the mosquito bites that I got today. But thankfully they're not on my face. So today we're setting off to embark on a self-guided driving tour of Manitoulin Island. The island is one of the largest freshwater islands in the world. It's right in Georgian Bay, and it's got some beautiful scenery, some really fascinating geology, and we're going to take in some Canadian island life, so let's go.
now that we're on Manitoulin Island, we're going to go see if we can find the island in a lake on an island in a lake. At over 80 kilometers long and 50 kilometers wide, Manitoulin Island is one of the largest freshwater islands in the world. It features beaches, waterfronts, parks, and stunning clifftop lookouts.
Welcome to Manitoulin Island. Not gonna lie, that East Bluff lookout was a little disappointing. So there's another one a couple kilometers up the road, so go check that one out. So unfortunately, because of time restraints, we're not going to be able to make it down to the south end of the island, but it sounds like it's really jam-packed, busy, full of people down there anyway, which I'm not all that interested in. So instead, I want to go get some shots of the lighthouses and some shots around town, so we're going to head back and do that before we head on to Sault Ste. Marie for the night.
Manitoulin Island is home to 11 lighthouses, which are scattered all over the island, including several that are right near Little Current, the first town to greet you when you arrive on island.
And another part of the reason why I wanted to cut this a little short is because I really don't want to be driving around up here after dark. I mean, yeah, the sunset's not until after 9:30 p.m. But you know, this whole area is full of bears and moose and elk and all kinds of other things that can do an extraordinary amount of damage to your car if you hit them. So I'd really like to get into Sault Ste. Marie before dark. So that's the other reason why we're cutting our tour of Manitoulin Island a little short there. Welcome to day 3 of our adventure across Ontario. On the docket today, we're going to be doing some scenic driving along the north shore of Lake Superior and stopping at Puckasaw National Park.
One of the top 10 road trips in North America, the Lake Superior Circle Route runs nearly 2,000 kilometers around Lake Superior through Ontario, Minnesota, Wisconsin, and Michigan. You can start and finish anywhere on the loop you wish. Over the next few days, we'll be driving the Canadian leg of the route across Ontario, which is highlighted by a stop at Puckasaw National Park. We'll complete the loop on the U.S. side of the border later in this trip. plan is to hike out and along the beach to join the trail out to Manito Mi'ikana, a stunning overlook of Lake Superior from the top of one of its world-famous cliffs. But once I got out to the beach, conditions were just too perfect. Coupled with the fact that I had seen black bears the day before and did not have bear spray with me, the idea of chillaxing on the beach, well, it got the best of me.
So it's really interesting comparing this place to Indiana Dunes, which I will link to in the description below there. But we're on pretty much the complete opposite end of the Great Lakes. So Indiana Dunes is down at the south end of Lake Michigan, and we are up on the north shore of Lake Superior. And you know, the water and the sand are pretty similar, but the terrain, the geology, a lot of that is different. But one other thing, having visited Indiana Dunes in the winter and being here in the summer, I gotta say, if you're gonna come to the Great Lakes, do it in the summer. It's much nicer. You know, it's funny, the Ontario leg of this trip just seems like it's been grinding on and on and on and on. But coming to a place like this really reminds me of why we do it. And we're almost done with Ontario. We'll be in Manitoba tomorrow evening. So this is a pretty good send-off. So I'm just gonna poke my head up here a ways, see if there's any kind of lookouts up here. If not, head back to the beach. It looks like there's one right here. So yeah, this trip is kind of a 1 week update of this trip. It's been really everything you could have asked for so far. You know, like every trip, it has its moments, but I mean, this is just spectacular here, and I'm really looking forward to getting into Manitoba and Saskatchewan, getting into the prairies, because the grassland prairies hold a very special place in my heart. And then obviously the Rockies, getting into the Canadian Rockies, are going to be pretty fun too. So it's just getting started, and there's a lot still to look forward to. Well, I think it's time to leave this beautifully spectacular place and continue west. Oh, that was awesome. You know, there's something about sitting on a beach like that, looking out at the water, that's just really therapeutic. It really is. Welcome to the fourth and final day of our adventure across Ontario. The Great Lakes and Thunder Bay are now in the rear view mirror, and we are heading north and west towards Winnipeg. As you can probably see out the window next to me here, there's not much up here but a lot of trees, so today is going to primarily be just a get down the road day, but we'll see if we can stop and find some fun things to do too. So if you're wondering why there's no civilization up in these parts, it's because the terrain is almost entirely muskeg, which is essentially just a big peat swamp or peat bog. It's characterized by acidic peat and stunted conifer trees or pines, so it's both hard to build here and hard to grow anything either, so that's why it's pretty desolate up here. Before we get out on the prairies though, I want to give you one final look at the beautiful, pristine boreal forest of Western Ontario. "50 kilometers to go to the Manitoba border." Well, that just about officially wraps up our journey across Ontario. Ontario is both a very big and very diverse province with so many fun things to do and beautiful places to see. So if you're ever up this way, I encourage you to check it out. And until then, we will see you on the Manitoba Prairie. Welcome to Manitoba. Apparently bison use these hunks of granite to scratch their asses. So, learn something new every day, I guess.
Up next, dive headfirst into the Canadian heartland as we explore some of the most pristinely preserved grassland prairies in the world. Learn about the stunningly diverse flora and fauna at Manitoba's Riding Mountain National Park before exploring Saskatchewan's Grasslands National Park, which features pristine prairie untouched by man. Finally, travel back in time and experience the golden age of prairie life at the Inglis Grain Elevators National Historic Site. It's all in a couple of fun-packed days as we set our sights on Western Canada.